Shalom Aleichem, Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome to 2 Chronicles chapter 8, in which there are 18 verses. Beginning in verse 1, it says, after 20 years versus at the end of 20 years. So this could be completely after the 20 years, meaning 21 years and forward, versus at the tail end of the 20 years, which could include part of the 20 years, whether that's the 19th or 20th year, remains to be seen. Verse 3, significant difference here. It says Solomon fortified it versus prevailed against it. So in one case, he's making it greater. He's fortifying it, strengthening the walls perhaps, making it more secure, versus making war against them of Hamath Zobah or Beis Zobah, and he defeated them. That could even be a big difference, but I'll keep it as a significant difference for now. Verse 4 reads, strong cities versus store cities. So one is, again, to do with security, with warfare. Storage is about keeping supplies. Verse 5, strong cities versus fenced cities. They're pretty close in meaning. Verse 6, continuous difference of strong versus store. And then in verse 8, we see significant difference. There's an omission of whom the children of Israel, or the children, whom the children of Israel destroyed not, versus consumed not. It seems to be a typo here. I'll have to check my hard copy to verify. Okay, just verified with the hard copy. That is indeed a typo. That was, it does say of Israel. Verse 9, we're ignoring. Verse 11, city of David versus in the house of David, or David. There it is, that the second mention of the word. Verse 13, we have a daily rate versus a certain rate. So the Septuagint is denoting a specific prescribed rate according to the Torah, versus a not unprescribed rate, not detailed. It could be interpreted depending on whoever is determining the rate. It mentions here, this is an interesting footnote, or an interesting, not a footnote technically, but a interesting observation, especially on people, or for people who do not believe in the new moons, that Hashem separates them and usually bundles them up with the Sabbaths, plural, and that could include the sabbatical years, the Jubilee, and so on. But notice here it mentions the new moons, which are to be, again, monthly, and at the feasts, the Moedim, 3 times in the year. So these were sacrifices made not just on the weekly Sabbath, perhaps even the Shemitah, the Sabbath, sabbatical years, and the Jubilee, but even the Moedim, and yes, the new moons. These were not prophetic events. These were actually being done and performed historically. These were done in the past, and they will be done again in the future according to the prophets. Verse 14, public ministrations versus service. So this can be interpreted in a couple ways, but a public ministry, so they're doing their ministry, the priestly ministry, in the eyes of the public, or this could be interpreted to mean that they're serving the community at large in whatever capacity, I'm not sure, versus service. So it's a lot more nebulous in the Masoretic. It also describes here the daily order, which is prescribed again according to the 12 divisions, such as the division of Abijah, according to the Levitical divisions. versus the duty of everyday required, which is very, again, vague and general. This could vary every day depending on the situation. It's not a prescribed, determined, or predetermined order according to the Torah, according to Moses. Verse 15, transgressed not the commandments versus they departed not. So I believe this is denoting two different levels here. So in the Septuagint, it says they did not break these commandments. However, the Masoretic is saying they did not leave the commandments, meaning they are more faithful. So again, two distinct levels of obedience being shown here. One is to the letter in the Septuagint, denoting compliance. The other in the Masoretic, denoting devotion and loyalty, perhaps following the law to the heart, the spirit of the law, rather than simply the letter. However, it's important to convey as well that the Septuagint is simply presenting the truth. It's not presenting a fictional account that is very much sugar-coated and made to be more romanticized, if we can put it that way. Verse 18. Sophira, so this is a place or a person, I'm not sure. I think it is a place because it is referred to as Ophir in the Masoretic. Continuing on in this verse, it talks about how King Huram or Hiram sent 450 talents of gold. What does that mean to send? It means to give. So he's giving Solomon 450 talents of gold. I bring this up because it can be misread very easily. Because when someone takes, people would simplify it to mean, okay, he's taking, he's not giving. So he's receiving from Solomon rather than giving to Solomon. But that is not the case here. In both translations, it is saying the same thing, but a careful reading, the reader will realize that the word took is being used here not in the sense of receiving gold, but in the sense of delivering. So King Huram is taking the gold to be transported and delivered to Solomon, as it says in the closing of the chapter. It says he took the gold and brought them. So he's not taking the gold to accumulate to himself. He's taking the gold to transport it with his own servants on the ships to bring it to Solomon, King Solomon. So that's all for this chapter. Thank you very much for your time. Till next time, I bid you all Shalom Aleichem, Assalamu Alaikum, Irini Mazisu, Pax Vobiscum, peace be unto you, and Maranatha.